I guess that I guess that starts it. All right, so I have wanted to learn how to use Godot for a while, and I've been messing with it just a little bit. But I don't know everything about it, and figured that doing some advent of code problems in Godot would be a good way to learn GDScript, which is what Godot uses. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I guess we'll just start with the first problem, which is called Trebuchet, apparently. Something is wrong with global snow production, and you've been selected to take a look. The elves have even given you a map. On it, they've used stars to mark top 50 locations that are likely to be having problems. Okay. You've been doing this long enough to know that to restore snow operations, you need to check all 50 stars by December 25th. Cool. Collect stars by solving puzzles. 2 puzzles will be made available on each day of the event calendar. Second puzzle, okay, this is just what the deal is. Why can't they just use the weather machine where they're sending you the sky? Good place for snow. And why your map looks mostly blank. You ask a lot of questions. Important. The sky, yada yada. Okay, they're putting you into a trebuchet. Excellent form of transportation. So making the final adjustments, they discover that their calibration documents have been amended by a very young elf who was apparently just excited to show off her art skills. So, messed up our important documents here. The newly improved calibration document consists of lines of text. Each line originally contained a specific calibration value that the elves now need to recover. On each line, the calibration value can be found by combining the first digit and the last digit to form a single 2-digit number. Okay. So this seems pretty straightforward. You just parse a line of text, and then you say, what's the first number in the line, the last number in the line, and put those together, and that's the number you're looking for. And then you have to sum them all together. And this should cover all our cases, beginning and end, in the middle with only 2 numbers, more than 2 numbers, and then only a singular number in the middle. So, consider your entire blah, 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 blah. What is the sum of all the values? Cool. All right, so if I do a little Alt-Tab here over to here, I guess we can get started. So, I mean, the scene really doesn't matter because there's just going to be text and it's going to be processing the text, so there's nothing to see. But we'll call this day 1 scene. And then we need to come over to script. We need to add a script on here. We'll call this day 1 GD. And when we create this, we open up over here our code. So let's see. If I come over and let's see. So first things first, I don't know how to read a text document in Godot, so let's find out. Read text txt file in Godot. So here we go. How does one go about this? Okay, load a file, read it contents. So we need to put a txt file in the project, and then, oh, hello, Habalubi. And then we can read it, load it, and we have getLine and all that kind of stuff. So I think that should mostly be everything we need to read into text file. So let me just copy all of this stuff in, borrow it real quick, and oops, I need to keep that extends node at the top. So identifier in class body. It's because this is supposed to have an at the beginning. I don't know where that went. File is not declared. Well, maybe that won't be a problem, but we'll see. Okay, so we need to go back over to here, and we need to actually make a text file. So if we make a new resource and we type in text, maybe it's even simpler than that. Hold on, let me go back to what I was looking at before. Okay, so I guess maybe I need to just open the file manager here, and open up over here on the left, and I'll just say new text document, and I'll call this day1.txt. And there it goes, pops up right there. So now can I edit this? I can, cool. So I don't have to worry about going somewhere else to edit this. All right, so day1.txt. So let's grab from here our example and paste it in. And then let's just do something simple to start with. I want to read the file and then just print its contents, which is what exactly this should be doing already. So yeah, reload that, and I'll close that so it... What is Go? This is called Godot. It's kind of like Unity, but it's open source, and it's for making games, basically. But it's got its own coding language called GDScript that I wanted to learn more about, and so I'm just doing these projects to basically learn. So if I press go, or press play over here, so file is still not declared. So that is an issue that we have to deal with. Let me stop this. So I need to figure out, they're using this file.new, but that doesn't seem to exist, which is going to be an issue. This is probably for old Godot, so let's see if this one's got better information. This looks better. I think most of what was in the other one should still work. They just probably changed what this needs to be. So if I replace this with instead this file access.open, let's see. And yeah, this all seems to be the same thing. Let's see. And if I put file in here instead. Okay, well, no more red squigglies, and so that's a step in the right direction. If I hit play this time, still does not like it. So what might the issue there be? So it said on line 12, okay, so it looks like what it's telling us is that this file access.open is returning null, which basically means it's just not working at all. So let me try replacing, instead of loading it like that, I will load it. No, that should still work. I don't know why. Oh, I know why. Because it's not called foobar.txt. It's called day1.txt. So let's try that. Yay, there we go. So names. Names are important. Who would have thought? So with that done, okay, well that's a big part of it, is just figuring out how to actually read in a file. So now that we've got that done, we need to go in and actually parse some information out of that file. So let's see. So how can we do this? The first thought I have is just to, I mean, we could do something with like a regular expression, but that's overly complicated. So probably I'll just loop through all of the characters that are in a line, and we'll say something like, I'm not going to need this index. This is just counting line numbers, which we don't really care about. Get rid of that, yada yada. So okay, so we're opening the file. Let's have a var called first num of line, and we'll just say it's 0 for now. And we'll say var last num of line equals, let's actually make these -1, and that way we know if they are -1 that we didn't find something. So we have fGetLine. I wonder if I take the line, can I say for C for car, and car's a type. For C in line, can I just print C? Will that work? I don't know. Let's find out. Yes, so it literally just prints out all our numbers, or our letters, each thing in the line. So what I can do with that is I can say if C dot is digit? No. Sometimes that exists. I don't see it here. Let's see if there's a smart way in Godot to see if a character is a digit. Yeah, I mean, this works. This is this GDScript? No, that is not GDScript. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. So we have is valid integer. So let's try that. And that's what we're looking for here. We're not going to be having floating point numbers. We're just going to have integer numbers. So nothing with a point after it. If C dot is valid integer, print C. And let's give that another test. Let me actually put this on the side like that, and then I can have quicker access to this button over here. Non-existent function is valid integer in base string. Can't hear me properly. I could turn up my mic volume. Is that better? At all? I didn't want to have it up too loud. Is that improved? Not. I'll take silence as improved and keep looking at stuff. So it's telling us is valid integer doesn't actually exist, even though supposedly it does. Oh, okay, good. Much better. Godot is valid integer. Let's see. String, yes. Okay, this is what we want. And this page is up to date for Godot 4.2. Excellent. So let's just search here, is valid underscore int. Okay, so they just changed it to make the calling convention slightly shorter. So it's not is valid integer anymore, it's is valid int. If I run that, those are all numbers, which makes me think it's working the way that it should be. So we're on a line. Let's actually move these inside of here because we want to be resetting these every time we go through a line. So what do we have now? We can read a line, we can go through the line and check and see if something's a valid integer. So now we need to find out what the first and last integers on that line are going to be. So let's see. If first num of line equals -1, which means we haven't assigned it yet, C or first num of line is going to be equal to our C dot as integer. Now I got to figure that out. How do we convert a character to an integer? Godot convert char to int. No, that's not what we're looking for. Converting strings to integers. That's probably a better idea. String to int. Actually, well, let's see what this says. Oh, okay, you just literally put int around it. But I might not do that yet. I might wait until we have our first and last numbers, because then we can put them into one string and convert them to an int one time, rather than trying to figure it out in the middle. So let's see, the first number of the line is going to be C. And I think because of Godot and the typing and all that stuff, this should be okay, because we never explicitly type anything. Let's see, and let's do an else if... okay. So the first number of the line is easy. It's the first one we come across. Getting the last number of the line is still easy. We just continually overwrite it. So we can just say else, because we know that we're dealing with an integer that came after the first one. Last num of line is going to equal C. So basically, we're going to go through every letter of the line that we're on. If it's a number and we haven't assigned the first number, then that becomes the first number. And then every one we go to after that is just going to get assigned to be the last number. And so what that means is that the last number, when we're done going through the whole loop, the last number is going to be the last number that's on the line. And I'm using this, so I don't know why it has an issue, but maybe that'll figure itself out. Okay, so now when we get to this point, we should have our first number in the first number and the last number in the last number. What are we trying to do? So this is the we're doing advent of code problems, and the basic idea here is that we're given lines of text, and they will have numbers in them. And so whatever the first number is and the last number in the line is, we put them together, and that gives us a number, and then we sum all those numbers up, and that is the answer to the problem. If you want to read here, there's some story about why we're trying to do that, but skipping over all that. Basically, so like this is 1 and 2 makes 12, 3 and 8 makes 38, and then here there's a 1 here and a 5 here with some other stuff in between, but we don't care about that, so we see 15. And then the last one, we only have a 7, so that's the first and the last number, so we're looking for a 77. And then they get all summed up to 142. So once we're done doing this and we run it, we should see 142, and then we're going to be given a And then I'm going to have to log in, and then we'll be given a longer test file to see if our code works. So back to this. So now we should have a first and a last num. So first thing we should check for is if the last num of line is equal to -1, because then that means that we never got a last number and there's only one number in the line. So the first number is all we need to worry about. So if the last number of line is -1, then let's just say that the last number of line is equal to the first number of line, because we're going to have to repeat it anyways. And now in this situation, we should have no more unknowns. We should just have our first and our last number. And so what we should be able to do is we should just say var final num is going to be final line num is going to equal first num of line plus last num of line. And we can actually print the, what did I just call it? The final line num. And let's see. So we should get whatever was in the example over there, like 38. Okay. So doesn't like a string and an int comparison. Where on 18? Okay, so it looks like we're not going to be able to get away with being too fancy here. We will have to convert these into integers to do some comparisons and then convert them back. First num times 10 plus last num. Yeah, that's actually probably even a better idea. Times 10 plus the last num. Let's see how that looks. 12, 38, 15, and 77. And I think if we go back, that is 12, 38, 15, and 77. So that's what we would have expected. And before we loop through everything, we just have a var called total sum that equals 0. And we say total sum plus equals the final line num. And then we can, after we close our file, we can print our final, our total sum. And let's run this again, and 142. So that should work. Now I need to quickly see about logging in with something. Sure, let's do that. Oh, all right. And now we're logged in. So I want to be called make it for less. Apparently there's more I need to do here. Provide blank. What is happening here? Okay, cool. And it was just a button I had to press. So now this is the generic input. This is what everybody gets. Now I'm going to get a much longer string of text that is just my input. And if I come over here and I paste that in, there's 1,000 lines to go through. And if I press this button, it should do a run. And I don't think that -11 is right. I think that's because there's a unused line. So it was just doing -1, -1. So let me run that again. And this time I get 55,712. And if I come back, fingers crossed, I put that in here and I click submit and I get a gold star. Woohoo! So that's the first part of this problem. And now we can move on to part 2, which is going to be slightly more complicated. So now our calculation isn't quite right. Looks like some of the digits are actually spelled out with letters. Oh, good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 also count as valid digits. Excellent. Equip this new information. You need to find the real first and last digit on each line. For example, 219, 823, yada, yada, yada. In this example, the calibration values are those numbers right there. So, cool. So I think for this part, I was avoiding it before because it's complicated and not super easy to understand, but I'm going to use something called regular expressions if I can. And regular expressions are a genius for generation, thank you. Regular expressions are just a kind of a shorthand way to deal with pulling important text out of things. So examples might be like something at something.com or .org is an email, and you can look for that pattern and pull that out specifically. And so if I go to like a regex tester, let me double check and make sure that I can actually use regex in, or regular expressions, not that, in Godot. And regex is just shorthand for regular expressions, because why not? Okay, so it does have some form of regular expression checking, so that's going to make life a whole lot easier. So let's do this. Let's come to this website. So this website is basically just a way so I can test out regular expressions without having to write code and run it over and over again. So if I take something like this, and I come over here, and I paste it in, what we want to see is on a given line. Cool. So what we want to pull out are 1, 2, I'm doing something wrong here because these should be grouped. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically I'm just typing in the English versions of all of these numbers. 8, 9. Was 0 even one of them? I'm not even sure. 0. Doesn't look like 0 is one of them. There's also a trick in here. So 16, you might think that should be 16, but if we look at the result, it only cares about the 6, which is weird and annoying. Okay, and then, so I can also put an OR in here and just say, give me 0 through 9, like that. I think that's right. Yes. So basically, what this whole long thing is saying is give me every time there is an English version or the number version of a number. So we've got 2, 1, 9. So it gives us 2, 1, and 9. I feel like I may be still making a mistake here. Let me see something real quick. Regex find string case insensitive. That's not what I meant. Well, let's just see if this works, and then if it doesn't, we can figure more out later. Yeah. All right. So we've got 219, 8. Oh, that's interesting. I'm assuming this is 8 here, and then we don't care about the 2. Yeah. So that's another tricky one. There's 2, but 2 is also part of the 8 here, so is there an example? No. Okay. Well, let's just cross our fingers that that doesn't matter too much. Okay. So now let's go back to our GDScript. And basically, this is going to be num only solution. We're going to call this num only solution with our file, and this is day one. Oops. All right. So that was our solution for when we were just doing numbers. But let's see now if we do num and okay. I swear I can type text solution. And we'll still pass it the file. So now we need to create this other function called the num and text solution. Oh, what did I do? Control Z, Control V. There we go. And file like that. And we need to make sure that we know this is a func. And we'll just say pass for right now. And let me run this. Everything should still run. Yes, okay. I'm going to actually, apparently not. Nope, still not what I'm looking for. There we go. I'm actually going to rename that text file to day one text only. And then create a new text file called day one text and nums. Nums only. Okay. So now when I click back over here, yay, everything reloaded. Cool. So now, and let me also change this to be day one nums only. Why? We'll just call that file 1, and this is going to get the 1. And then let's copy this, paste it, and call it file 2, which is going to be day 1 text and nums. Okay, and then we'll pass in file 2 here. Okay, so now we should be in a position to do a lot of the same stuff. So let's see, we still need this. We still need to be reading in a file. We still need this. We need to be looping through all of the lines in our file. We still need this because we can't leave the file open, and we still need to, well, we don't really need to return, but whatever, we will. And we still need also to be getting our line like this. Okay, so now we have our line. So now what we need to do is we need to use that regular expression we figured out to actually turn this into things that we can look through. So regular expressions. Cool. Da-da-da. Interesting. Capturing groups and names used to retrieve results if 2 or more of the same. Only refer to the first one with a match. I don't. Okay, here we go. We want to search all because we basically want. Interesting. We want to get all of the different things that we would be looking for. Okay, very weird. All right, so we basically want this, but we're going to need to change out the regular expression. Okay, cool. So we have a new regex. Let's come back over here and just steal this back from ourselves. We should be able to say that. Potentially. And then we want to search all in our line. And let's run that and see what we get out of it. Now, if this all went the way that I'm hoping it did, what we're going to get out of it, sure, is nothing. That's not what I was hoping for. Day one text and num. Oh, you know what would help is if in day one text and nums, we actually put some information, such as this, because otherwise it's not going to do very much, as we just saw. And let's try reading that again. We still get nothing, so that's unfortunate. And again, we need to print. So let's print our results. Yes, yes, okay. Now do we get something? Hey, look at that. That's actually exactly what we wanted. 2, 9, 8, 3, 1, 2, blah, blah, blah. Cool. So that's a step in the right direction, for sure. Let's see. So what's the next thing we need to do? The next thing we need to worry about is actually turning words into numbers, which is going to be an annoyance. Let's see if there's an easy way to do that. Godot turn string. This is not going to give me what I want into int. This is going to tell me, yeah, I could do that, but I very much doubt that will work. But let's see. So if I just int the result, is Godot smart enough to know that the text representations? No. So you can see here, if if we're looking at a number, we can use that to just turn it into a real number. But for all of our strings, where this was like a 2 or whatever, it says, I don't know what the heck 2 means, so it just turns it into a 0. So we're going to have to do a couple things here. The first one is, let's see. So it looks like we're not dealing with zeros. We can actually just consider those. So basically, if we get a 0, we know we're looking at a string. If we get anything else, we know we're looking at a number, because it seems to me that I haven't seen any zeros yet. Let's look in this text. Is there anywhere where we have a 0 or a 0? No. Okay. So my guess is that what we can do here is we can say int our result, right? And when we int our result, var res as num equals that. And we can say if res as num equals 0, then we know here dealing with string of num. Else is already num. So just to recap, we're opening our text file. We're going through each line. On each line, we are using this regular expression to see if we have the text representation or the numerical representation of a number. Go through each one, convert those into, try to convert those into integers. If it does convert, we know we're dealing with a numerical representation. If it doesn't, we're dealing with a string representation, and we need to do some more fancy stuff. But let me res as string equals. So we don't want to lose our string representation necessarily. So let me actually do that. So that way we can convert it, but we still know what it was before we converted it. And then I can type in res as string. There we go. Okay. So we're not going to need these results. All right. So I'm going to actually make a new function here called convert string to int, and we'll pass it the num as string. There we go, and just pass for now. And now we're going to say res as num is actually equal to convert our string to an integer of the res as string. And we don't actually need this else. And now with all of this done, we know that down here res as num is going to be a number. Cool. So now we need to implement this. I don't know what kind of, let's see, Godot switch. Okay. Okay, so we don't have switch case, but we do have match, which sounds like it's, yeah, so we have match, which looks to be the same thing. Match is more strict, blah, 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 blah. Cool. I mean, that's, yeah, that looks right to me. So if we match on our num is string, is that how it is? No parentheses or anything? It doesn't seem to be. Okay, we match on our num is string and we say the case is 1. Then we can return 1. And then we just have to do that 8 more times. I'm actually going to take 0 out of here because apparently we're not doing zeros, and I don't want to get confused later about that. So there's 1. Oops. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Let me see if I can do, oops. Shift, and let me just type in 2 for now, because we got to come down all of these and type 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that should be all our numbers if I remember correctly from school. And I messed up a little bit, but hopefully I can just say, nope, not quite. So now I got to come through here and put these on all of those. There we go. Okay. Now that 1 is actually a 2. That's a 3. That's a 4. It's a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9. Okay. Now, with all that taken care of, if everything worked like it's supposed to, we can we can just copy our logic from here, where we say we need a first and a last number. Once we're in here, we can say if this is that and the other is that. And again, I pressed the wrong button. Okay. So copying our logic over from before, we don't actually need to do any of this. So basically what we're saying is, again, as we're going through all of our results, which are now limited to just possible numbers, if we didn't get a first number of our line, then the first number is going to be res as num. The second one is possibly going to be res as num because we have everything set up. And then let me just, before we do anything else, we're going to say print, and then we get our final line num, right. Come over here, put that in there, print our final line num, and let me run this real quick. And is this open somewhere? Yeah, okay, great. close all. There we go. So now we won't get that anymore. Okay. 29, 83, 13, lots of numbers. Are they what we want? I'm seeing 29, 83, 13, 24, 42, 14, and 76. Which, once we sum them all together, as we did before, nope. I swear I'll figure out a keyboard someday. Total sum, and that's going to plus equal our final line number. Like that, and run it one more time. We get a number that looks like 281, which is what we're looking for there. So let's come back and it looks like it says our input's the same as before, so we don't really need to reload anything. We can just change file 2 back to file 1. I thought they'd be different. Maybe the naming convention doesn't make sense anymore, but whatever. We're running it. We're getting it. We're getting 55086. That's a different number than last time, so that's a good sign. And we're submitting it, and that's not right. It's too low. Now, why might that be? That is interesting. Why is it too low? Take that off again. And make it 2 again. 55086. Okay. So we're too low. I know why. Because we said res's num is 0 here. Is that why? I don't think that should be why. Okay. So something is off, and we got to figure out what exactly that might be. So our first num of line is going to be -1. Our last num of line is going to be res as num. What problem? I forgot to put in this check. Duh. So we might have ended up in a situation where we were adding -1 when we shouldn't have been. It could also be that. I will check that next, but let's see if our last number of our line is -1 still. Let's run this again. Okay, that's a different number and a much larger number, which tells me we're going in the right direction. Bum. Yeah. Oh, damn it. That's too high. It's probably the edge case where spelling of two numbers is overlapping. Yeah, that is annoying. So let's see. Maybe we need to go back to our regular expressions and see. See if there's a way we can still. Let's stay on this page. Still get what we want. So right now the issue is we're looking at something like this, where we have 8 and 2, but we're not looking at both of them. So how do we deal with that? Give me 1 second. I think it has something to do with the fact that I probably need to put something like quotes around these. That's not what it needs. Or maybe, maybe I don't want to put anything around these at all. Nope, that's still not it. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, because it's going to get the 1 at the end there and not the 8. So I need to... let's see. Regex find overlapping matches. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Question mark equals is the look ahead. Oh, okay. So maybe I need to come, come back here. Can I do question mark equals? Well, it doesn't like that. So put it inside another parentheses. It likes that a lot better. Except for now nothing matches. So that's worse. So what is this saying? Question mark equals... maybe I just need to put them... Oops. I don't think this is what I want. Do I want to put them... Let's see. Let's do 8 and 3. Simplify this a little bit. If I do 8 like that, or... Was it 3? No, sorry, 2. Well, that still isn't it. And that still isn't it either. That doesn't work. I swear I haven't done regular expressions in such a long time. Yeah, so that gets all the letters in 8, but that's not what we want. Well, maybe I'll just Google find string representations of nums in regex. No. Or at least... No, that's something else entirely. Nah, still not it. All right. Let's see. Let's just go more simple. Find string in regex, or with regex. Searching with regular. Okay. Well, I think I was on the right path, but I don't want them to be... I don't want it to... Because basically once it gets all this 8, it says, okay, this 2... I'm not... That T is part of the 8, which is not correct. So there's got to be non-consuming check and regex. Let's try that. Yeah, everybody's giving me this question mark. Asserts that what immediately follows the current position in the string is foo. I mean, that's different, but still not what I'm looking for. And question mark equals here is not what I'm looking for, I'm pretty sure. No, because then it doesn't get anything. Let's try this. Regex to find substring with overlap. The string match with a global blah 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 matches and consumes. Use a 0 with assertion, a positive. Okay, there's a lot going on there. Okay, so question mark equals, what is slash D? You can't do this with regex alone, but you can get pretty close. Oh, cool. Let's see, what does backslash D even get you? Oh, matches a digit. That's not what we want. See if Quora's got an answer for me. ChatGPT, what? I guess I could have asked ChatGPT. All right. I don't think I'm gonna be able to figure this out right now because I have to go take care of something. So, unfortunately, this is where it's going to be left off for now. I might do this again. I'm not sure. Thanks anybody who came to watch for watching, and I'll see you next time.